some prattling fool has seen fit to make a self-demonstrating tropes page on a thing called TV Tropes. I think I'm going to have to assess what these people think of me. 80s hair? What are you prattling about? I've had my hair fashioned this way since the 19th century. Are you suggesting people were emulating it 100 years later? You filthy peasants thought you could copy I, Dio. Now that is rich. Alliterative family. Of course. About the only thing I inherited from that drunken scoundrel of a father Dario was our naming scheme, which is why I cast off my surname. Now it is only Dio. Arch enemy. Believe me, any animosity that the Joestars feel towards me is reciprocated in full. They've been a thorn in my side as far back as their impudent progenitor, George Joestar. But for me it was Tuesday. You wish to know how many lives I've claimed? Ha! Let me frame it this way. How many loaves of bread have you eaten in your life? Complete monster. Oh, let me guess. I reek of brimstone and blood worse than anyone. I've been evil since the first breath I drew. Label me all you want, for your word means nothing against the power of a god. All will serve me one way or another. All will serve Dio one way or another. Apparently, I'm also deader than dead. A tragedy that even I could not come back from, being shattered to pieces. Oh well, as long as I still have my disciples left, my will lives on. Apparently, I'm also a depraved bisexual. Humans are pathetic, I'll admit, but even I can have fun with them. And I'm not picky over who or what I choose, provided they serve me in some manner. Determinator. Oh, my entire life was step after step of ascending hell. Nothing will stop me from claiming what's mine. Not even death. Drowning my sorrows. Do not speak of my intoxicated episode from before my transformation, lest you compare me to that drunken wretch of a father. Even evil can be loved. Ugh, even in his dying breaths, Jonathan still thought of me as a brother. As if I could have any affection towards that fool. Evil Brit. Needless to say, as Brits go, I'm far from the most upstanding citizen. Even I will admit that, but here I am. Evil genius. Would it surprise you to know that I studied law in university? I also spent 7 years fishing for the Joestars Trust so I could claim their fortune. Unfortunately, that loathsome Jonathan had more of a brain than I can give him credit for. Fighting spirit. The world is my will and spirit incarnate. With it, I, Dio, can control destiny and time themselves. My foil, that oaf Jonathan, was but a wealthy brat, handed all of his successes. I, Dio, clawed my way up from hell to achieve my perfection. And I, Dio, would do it again in a heartbeat. Fountain of memes. You impressionable lot have known me for mere decades and quote my words like prose. Just know that none of you will ever recapture truly the greatness of Dio. Freudian excuse is no excuse. My little sympathy gambit with dear old Jonathan would have gone perfectly, were it not for that speedwagon termite calling my bluff. But I guess my more dedicated disciples on the internet are willing to spin the story for me. As a child, I was but a miserable little street rat, gambling for even a mere bag of coins. I eagerly waited for my time in the limelight, when I would bend this world to my will, and in more ways than one, that was surely granted. Fully embraced fiend. The body is everlasting, short of hormone. Eliminate that weakness, and what more could you desire? What could mortal fragility possibly offer that outweighs an eternity as a god? No longer am I, Dio, shackled by human frailty. The night I donned that stone mask, I rejected all of their weaknesses and became something far greater. Godhood seeker. This wretched world and its people won't drag me down to their miserable level. I, Dio, will be the one to preside over them from heaven as their rightful god, unmatched in my perfection. What could be more fitting for a god than resplendence of gold? Due to some complications, I had to seize Jonathan's body as my own, and loath as I am to admit, those Joestars truly are built like gods. A shame it resulted in Jonathan's descendants getting stands as well. I was born of London. Of course I speak my native tongue. I suppose Muda is a lot less impactful than useless. Anyhow, even after death, everyone from Kira to Giovanna owes their legacy to me. I, Dio, have changed the world forever. And don't you mere mortals forget it. Back during the 1800s, I could freeze a man solid with a mere touch. I had to make certain sacrifices after my initial defeat, but I consider it a worthy trade-off. Poor Jonathan crying over his mutt as it was charred to a crisp. Humans are such fools fawning over lesser beings. Any competent Stan knows when to display their bravado, and why should I restrain myself while on the pathway to becoming a god? It's useless to outshine my grandeur. Dio was the perfect name after all, for, in case you wretched fools didn't know, it is Italian for God. Being a vampire truly has its perks. Imagine Jonathan's shock when I, Dio, gave him a surprise visit on his honeymoon after he thought he'd beheaded me for good. Fat chance. No, Jonathan thought he'd killed me in his burning house, but I survived, and beheading me wasn't enough either. Not even suffocating for a century at the bottom of the sea could stop me, although it did annoy me considerably. Try being trapped at the bottom of the ocean for a century and reawaken in a new country and era yourself. You'll find Victorian English doesn't make much of an inconspicuous cover, although I was hiding in Egypt. I wasn't going to sound Egyptian, that would just be ridiculous. You think garlic and crosses are going to slay me, Dio? Don't make me laugh. The only obstacles on my path to godhood are the damned sun and infuriating hormone users. And I managed to snuff out the last one of them in Egypt. Among many things I did to ruin Jonathan's life, I stole his pathetic future wife Irina's first kiss. She thought her first kiss would be Jojo, but it was I, Dio! And she wasn't even that good. I was, and still am, a self-made orphan. That's right, I brought a well-earned demise to that drunkard who called himself my father, and Mr. Josar, who took me in courtesy of all his infinite benevolence, gave me an opportunity to grant him the same fate. It seems there is a musician who appropriated my name. Some of you recognise the greatness of Dio. The The signature ability of my stand, the world, for 5 seconds, all of reality becomes my plaything. And I can achieve even greater lengths the more I master it. And master it I will. I'll admit I had my fun riling up that buffoon Polnareff, and all by scooting him down a few stairs. Simple trickery for a pathetic fool. I made sure to leave a successor behind who could carry out my goal of achieving heaven, one Enrico Pucci. A pity that he fell barely short of reaching my expectations in the end. Even more infuriating that it was some insignificant brat that ended him. Oh, you're referring to that wrench Jonathan loved. Arena, was it? Ha! Putting her in her place was rather fulfilling at the time. Especially if it meant driving her lover boy Jonathan mad even further. Nowadays, why bother giving impudent women like her any energy? At best, they're my next meal. Or I simply turn them into thralls and let them feed on their own children. You were good for killing time, I suppose, but now that time is up, goodbye, Troper.